Good morning, Deco. This is Felipe. Good morning. How do you do, Felipe?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. From a distance, but we can. How do you do?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm
I'm
in
not
the
listening.
headset, a bad headset. So now I will try to improve it.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for joining us today. So, good morning, Fernando, Felipe, Jeff. How do you do today? We did not hear you for a while, so please share with us.
Uh, um, uh, uh, I want to say hello to everybody and those that are listening and all our friends out there. And Felipe, thank you for helping me to get LinkedIn today and stuff. So yeah, just interested to join the conversation. Excited.
Thank
So
you. Thank you, Jeff, for coming, joining us today. I would like to start, unless if you have any particular question. Do you have any question that you would like to ask Fernando, Felipe, Jeff? Is there something on your mind?
No, I'm ready to listen. I have something about this special day and
Yes,
night,
yes.
just about what do you think about it nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
and if you could share with us your perspective about Rosh Hashanah.
Yes, yes. So I will start with something and then you'll ask the question, Fernando. Just an input that I received yesterday about Rosh Hashanah, because this is a new season in the North Hemisphere. In the North Hemisphere, this is autumn, and there is a stop. There is a relation to nature. We stop. Summer has ended. The running of the summer. It's not just the summer, but the lights are running. We have long days in the summer, very long days. It is very hot. This particular summer was the hottest in the last 120,000 years. And like Weinreb says, before the Torah, the Bible was written, people celebrate or stopped or related to nature or to the change in the nature behavior by stopping and celebrating. Not that we active celebrating the holidays, but the earth is turning and we notice changes and we relate to changes. So the celebrations or the holidays are celebrating themselves or exhibiting themselves to us, and we are witnessing them. By witnessing them, we consider this as an active celebration from our side, but we're just evidencing the changes. And it was an interesting sentence that I heard yesterday that in the North Hemisphere, people stop usually at December for Christmas. In spring, they stop for Easter. Sometimes people celebrate the Pentecost, but unless if in North America people stop to celebrate Thanksgiving, there is no relation to the autumn as a season. This is interesting.
yeah,
Now, yes, Jeff, would you like to say something?
no, I'm fascinated with what you're saying. So please keep going.
And I would like to relate to the summer, especially to the months July and August. When we look at the names of the Gregorian calendar, the solar calendar, January, February, 10 names of the months in generally holds or host names of gods and goddesses, and the rest of the months are just numbers September, it means septum, this is 7, October, octopus 8, and so, and December, this is basically decimal, this is the 10th month, but since two additional months were added, July and August, so septum, the 7th month, became, so to speak, the 9th month, September. But why do I mention all of those things? Because of July and August. July and August are named after Roman emperors, Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. Those 2 months are named after humans, emperor, people with a lot of power. July and August, each one holds 31 days. 31 is the gematria, how do you say, the numerical value of El, God. This is quite interesting because in the summer, it's like Daedalus and Icarus. We have the sense of we have the power because the sun gives a lot of energy to things. We are motivated. The sun rises here at 4 o'clock in the morning, goes to sleep at 9 in the summer. So we have a lot of hours of light and heat, and we are like a great, let's say, cars, human is sometimes human is like a machine on this beautiful everlasting energy of the sun, and we feel very powerful and we feel that we are capable of things. And the summer gives a sense, a false sense of being who we are in the body. On top of it, we also wear short pants and short clothes because it's hot to air everything, and the organs, the human organs, plastic organs are being exposed, and we have the sense of this is my body, I'm owning this thing. There is no me or a name without this body. So it's let's say the summer is a stack of lies about ourselves. Daedalus and Icarus, this is the Greek mythology, tried to fly next to the sun, and the consequence, we know what happened to them. People try to be too much, they fall. And this is interesting because what happens now in this season, the lights, since Earth is turning around, the light also become equal. We call it equinox in Latin. The hours of the days are equal to the hours of the night, so there's like balance. Suddenly everything is in check. In their place there is stability. There is no edge which is pulling us to the edge of our nerves. Children, usually in the North Hemisphere, excuse me that I don't know the orders in the South Hemisphere about school, universities and garden. I'm not educated in this realm. And usually what happens in September, children, students return to school, return to their seat on a bench. We say, and I will say the phrase in Hebrew and you will understand. Children go back to school, to the kindergarten. People return from vacation and they return to routine, to their work. In nature, the leaves are falling from the trees. First, they become yellow, gold, orange, and some of them becoming red, and they fall from the trees. The trees remain thin, without any dressing, without any colorful, without any blooming, without any fruit. They just stand there, so to speak, naked. Please see the parallel of how nature show itself to us and the story of the creation of Adam and Eve. being expelled from the Garden of Eden. Please try to see similarities between those two pictures. Another phrase in Hebrew. When we speak about a person who returns to school to sit on his chair or onto his bench, we say that he is bandaged, lachavosh. Lachavosh is like to put a bandage on a wounded person. It's the same word, lachavosh. El safsal limudim, to the bench of learning. So a person who sits and learns and contemplates is like a person with bandage. Like if we go like just with our body to the world without wisdom, we're just running and tackle things without any relation to what is happening. We just like Cain go and shoot 10 elephants every day. But the autumn has healing aspect. People going back not to God. I mean, God is not an entity on Mars. And this is also the meaning of lachazor b'tshuva. What is it to repent in English, or lachazor b'tshuva, to return? What does it mean? Just to return to who we are. This is not just the whole nature turns. The lights of the summer are returning. They become even. So all these later terms in history, lachazor b'tshuva, to repent, like if there's God somewhere with a stick, hey, you behave like a bad boy, face to the wall. This is, it's not about external punishment, or just a call to return to who we are, to return to find our voice inside of ourselves, not to look outside, because what happens in the summer, the light is so aggravating that it wakes us up, the eyes are being opened, and we go out to the world because so much light. But light is conceiving. So what happens in September is that, again, the Earth is turning, planet Earth, and then we have like balance between night and day, and then we can see when we are, not just nature is balanced, also our mind is balanced, because what happens in the summer, it is so hot, it is so annoying. Sometimes this summer we have had alert not to leave the house for many hours, so we had to live like in a cave with a lot of curtains. Yes, Oppenheimer summer. By the way, the Earth remembers the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those special 2 days in August that they bombed the Japanese cities, the Earth is crying. If you look at those days here, experience of what happens to the sun and to people, the Earth remember. So this is just a beginning. I did not even touch what I would like to say, but you're welcome to ask questions. Fernando, Jeff, Eniola, Felipe, here, listeners on YouTube, if you have questions, please feel free to ask.
I just have one quick question here, Eddie.
Yes.
I think it was yesterday. No, it was Monday. You mentioned about tears of the sun coming as seeds of wheat
Yes.
that go into the earth, and
Yes.
then they come up in the spring, and at Pentecost, it's celebrated the harvest of wheat. People make bread. I was just wondering where that story comes from, or the source of it, because I would like to share that.
Yeah, it came while writing. Yes. It
Okay.
It came while writing a poetry. I just sit.
It came to you?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, so the source is from you.
It's not, I mean, I can tell you linearly approximately what happened, and you will build your own picture from it. I was walking. Andra told me one Saturday, Etty, it was summer. It was, you cannot leave the house until evening. After the sunset, 42 degrees. After the sunset, 100 and more Fahrenheit. After the sunset, just that you will understand what summer was it here. Andra says, Etty,
Yeah.
take a walk. Saturday night, Etty, take a walk. Enough. I take a walk and I don't manage even to cross the road, and I use Felipe advice. If you have something, record it on your phone. And suddenly I just crossed the zebra crossing on the way to the shore, and I just hear myself sing, my heart just wants to sing, to be one with the wind. And I record it because Felipe advised me. And I came home. The words just came free with the music. I just record without knowing what I'm doing at all. I came home. I made a sketch, let's say more or less, that I will remember, though it was on the phone. But I liked it, and I made a sketch. The next day, I went to the bay, and I was reciting the music and the lyrics again, but came a new line that was not in Saturday Night, a golden tear. Okay, where does it come from? I never heard it before. And so I googled and I wrote a golden tear mythology. And then I found that according to the Nordic mythology, there was a goddess called Freya. She was the goddess of fertility, and there's a beautiful story how her husband, he goes to the world to learn about life and wisdom, and she stays alone. But she loves him so much, and she cries golden tears. And when her golden tears are touching the ground, when she cries, her tears touching the ground, they become gold. And when she cries above the ocean and her tears are falling and touches the water, they become amber. Okay. I wrote to Felipe the lyrics. I recorded somehow the music, and I said, oh, okay, Felipe, it sounds to me like tango. If you pull it, because Felipe is busy in those days a lot. Okay. And every day I sit and I hear, because now I'm writing the second poetry book in Hebrew, because the first was like summer, spring poems. Now it comes like end of the summer, autumn poems. And I write every day. And because I sit and I let myself be, and I feel the light. And every day, if you sit, you feel that the angle of the sun is changing, and the angle of the sun is telling a story. So I was writing in Hebrew, and then the story came into the Hebrew poem, that the sun is crying, and first her tears are like a gold, like from the leaves of the falling trees, and then she cries, and her tears are being held by earth as seeds of wheat. And then after it came, this is the happenings. This is what happened.
Wow. I thought maybe it was a Jewish lore or a story, but it came to you like that.
Yes.
Wow.
Plus there is I remember a verse from Psalms that I think it's in Psalms. Those who are, how do you say, seeding in crying, they will harvest happiness. I can look now, but there is that when we seed, how do you say, put the seed in the ground is the time of crying. You know this verse? I'll just open it. 1 second, I'll read it to you. Because I said, but it's, and I told myself, because this is how, and I suddenly came to me a picture from kindergarten that the kindergarten teacher, 1 second, Hazoim Bedim'ah. Those who are sitting in crying, they will be happy to harvest. Where is the source? Yes, this is Psalms 126, 5. Psalms 126, Mechon Mamre, 1 second. And suddenly came to me everything came, everything comes at once. The picture from kindergarten, she took us to the fields and she gave us to feel in our hands the seed of wheat.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that the seed of wheat looks like a tear. I just remember being 5 years old. So let's see. Yes, so I open Psalms 126, turn our captivity. No, it's, 5. 126, Psalms, verse 5. They that sow in tears shall reap in a joy. So you see. Yeah,
like a complex download all at once.
So, yes, but it is interesting because it takes to the wheat from the moment we sow the wheat, the seed of wheat, it takes for the wheat to grow to be ready for harvest 9 months, like baby.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yes, and the wheat is ready in June, and from the wheat we make bread. And this is the man's mind, basically. Because the 10 Commandments were given in June because we were ready to receive the divine wisdom. Because you see, it starts with Genesis in the beginning. And the sages are saying, why to start the Bible in the beginning? God created why? It should have started from I am the Lord. This is how it starts, with 10 sayings. No, but we were not ready. So we have, in a way, in the first chapter of Genesis, 7 days. So we start with 7, the Genesis.
Yeah.
Because we're not ready yet for the infinite mind that contains 10 spheres. So we start little and then we grow. This is one perspective. Another perspective that Fernando offered is reflected light. We cannot be like the sun, like Daedalus and Icarus. We cannot. But if every year we take this, let's say the tear of the sun, little part, a tear of the sun, and we put it in the ground and then we grow it for 9 months, we have a new spirit, a new bread, a new manna. It's very interesting. It has many perspectives and aspects.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Yeah, the sun is in that manner, in that way of describing the tears of the sun going into the earth, and like seeds of wheat, and then comes bread, and eventually, it's like the sun is our nourishment and all of that, but we don't take it just directly, like you said.
Yes, we cannot access it.
It's the source and it's the nourishment, and I think of the Lord in that. instead of S-U-N, I think of S-O-N,
Hmm.
the Son of God and the Lord. But it's, yeah, I'm going to headline my message on Sunday with that story, because it's just that and a few other things that you've been talking about, um, have been exactly in the same place where we've been talking about things on Sunday morning. Yeah. So it really captured my fascination about it because, you know, you're talking about bread and you're talking about the idols and things like that. Um, Pretty much lined up exactly with passages we've been talking about too. So I appreciate all the conversation and the discussion that you guys have been bringing forward.
Thank you.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Thank you so
Yeah, I
much.
just heard
Thank
a
you. Thank you
I
so
heard a
much.
click.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing about the origins of that. So, being 5 years old in kindergarten and seeing wheat and thinking of it like a tear.
Yes, and I was so afraid from the field, you know. I remember because in kindergarten there's like little house. You know how kindergarten looks. There's a little house and there's like a yard around it and few, I don't know, there's a sandbox and like, just like what children have. And suddenly the kindergarten teacher put us on a bus and suddenly we are on an open field. What is this thing? Open field. And you're little, the height of a child, 5 years old, is not, what is this thing? And she asked one of the parents to join us because to help her with the children outside because her and her assistant was not enough. I remember there was like parent that joined us to help her. And she opened a little can of silver and she gave us seeds in our hands. And she said, and there was a person from the field and he showed us to put like a few seeds in our palm and then to open our palm and then to give it to the land before the rain comes. I was so shocked for all of this. So shocked. Yes. What is this? Because the seed is golden and the
Yeah.
field is like dark brown or gray even in the summer. It just those colors and this openness. Suddenly, there's no. It's not the. You're not protected. The how do you say kindergarten Gani Eladim, it's a house. It's a protection like a home. And suddenly, what is this openness of the field? I was so shocked because there's no civilization, just a field. What is this even?
Mm.
There's
Wow,
no
vivid
books.
memory.
Yes, no books, no nothing. No path, no road. What is this even? This is out of civilization and
Hmm. Wow, that's a fun memory you've got there. Vivid and yeah. It really made an impression on you
yes.
when you connected with that.
It is being
So it was
pulled. Yes,
quite a contrast.
yes, it is being pulled from somewhere. It's not active choice that we do. It just comes. It's not an active choice. It just, boop, it appears and write me down. So this is what I do. I write it down.
Yeah, yeah, that's very effective. Yep. because there's something happening in the universe all over the place at the same time, all over. And when you're able to write that down, other people will notice that it's in their part of the universe too. Same thing. Oh, it's really good. So, what was the other part of the things you wanted to share today, Eddie?
Is the fact that there is a phrase in Hebrew to lachavosh. Lachavosh is to bandage somebody to the chair or to the school bench. Why do we say this in Hebrew? Lachavosh, to bandage. Because if we don't, how do you say, look inside or take inside, we are like wounded animals going to the world. Another aspect of bandage is Isaac. Isaac was binded, how do you say, on Mount Moriah in this part of the year. In this part of the year, Isaac was binded. So again, we have bandage. This is one thing. Another thing of bondage and bonding, bandage. Yes, and also the light. The lights are being binded. The lights are both returning. The long lights of the summer are returning. They're not that long and, let's say, destructive. And this fact helps us to heal. They are returning, so to speak, to the source, because Earth is shifting. So they are returning. We have less hours of light, and we can heal by returning to ourselves. Because the temptation is to run to the creation, to run outside there, and to believe to the infinite lies that we see, that we meet. And it harms us. Yes, Fernando.
Just one insight, if I may, Eti, that
Yes.
I was listening to your beautiful story about the King garden and the wilderness of the field, and about these days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the days of judgment. You know that people are afraid of judgment and like making the teshuvah sometimes. Each one on its own type and feeling, but I was just thinking it about what you said about going inside, about this sitting and writing and listening to the darkness of the inside. And I was thinking about the story of the two goats in the Yom Kippur. You know that in the temple, one goat stayed in the temple and the other goes to Azazel.
Yes.
In resume to the wilderness, you know. And what came to me listening to you is that we have a new ethic, a new kind of approach, because the ritual of these two goats, it is like let's take one to stay with us in the known, in the realm of the known, and the other one will pour our sins, let's say, and go to Azazel, you know. And we do not want to know what happens. We do not want to know. We do not want to go to the wilderness of the field. Who goes to the wilderness of the field is this goat, and for us it's okay. We are free from this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting inside and listening to the darkness of the of the soul, of being small, it is a different approach, you know. You do not stay in the light with the other in the kingdom garden, you know.
Yes.
It is, you do not sacrifice the other gold. It is like something like I'm not sure that I'm sure that I am not being clear here, but it is this teshuvah is not putting the let's say to putting down the carpet, the dust that is on the floor. It is more like to understand what is happening with calm, and to adjust the eyes to the darkness, and to balance these two sides, you know, not to tear apart, but to bound, to bring these two sides into one, you know. This is what came to me while I was listening to you. It is quite different, this approach of this teshuvah going inside from this collective teshuvah, you know, that is like the bad the bad is there, and we need to kill a goat for the bad, you know, and go to Azazel. The wilderness, it's outside our fences.
I would like to offer something, Fernando. Since
Please.
I think that if we don't think about it as a law or literal understanding of the Bible, it means that we have few drafts of ourselves. The external draft of ourselves, the external vitality, the mechanical vitality, goes to the desert, to the wilderness, and perishes because it's external, like a falling leaf from the tree in the autumn. And the inner vitality of us goes to the temple. It's very simple. It is very simple. The thing is that people, when they read the text, they already take it literal. 2 goats and the public, and there is no you know. Just, I hope you understand. Our external draft just perishes. It does not exist if we return to the temple, to the darkness, to listen to what comes and to write it, to be with creativity. It just does not exist. It's not like a split that I don't know, people have this impression of split. I don't know why, but it's not a splitting. The version which is not necessary to continue just moves away. This is what comes to me now.
I understand. Yes.
It's not about external animal or external goat. Is also.
I totally agree. Yes.
Yes.
I totally agree. It.
Because you reminded me of there's a use. I don't know, people still doing it today. They call it kaparot. I don't know how to say kaparot. They take animal, a chicken. I don't know how to say this in English at the moment. Doesn't come to me. And they take a chicken and they hold the chicken around the person's head, and they turn the chicken 3 times above person's head, and they say, the sins of the man or the lady or the children, they go into the chicken, and then they slaughter the chicken. You know? So, and they say it's written in Luria's book or Siddur, or, you know. I'm not sure that people understand what is written there. And this is
Yes,
my,
it is.
and they say this is my covering, this is my covers, you know.
And it is exactly like the Kapahot.
Yes, yes.
Uh, what I am speaking is that people tend to think that, okay, I'm gonna slaughter this chicken,
Mm-hmm.
that I pass it through the head of a little child,
Yes.
that the little child almost, what bad a little child made
Yes,
to
yes. This is
do
the
them.
question.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, and we're gonna slaughter the chicken, and now everything is fine.
Yeah.
Life continues just like yesterday.
It,
And what you are speaking, that is the new ethic that I am trying to put in a coherent words, is that there is nothing like this. It's not something external. It is more like to discover your root, to discover to be human, to
yes.
take care of things, not
Yes.
I did wrong. Everybody makes wrong things, and of course we need to correct our attitude. Every day I make bad things, but it's more like to change direction, to
Yes.
or to
Yes.
find the real direction.
Yes. It's not because we sin. This is the label sinners. It doesn't matter in which religion, in which time, in which society. People grow children and they put in them those ideas, parents, because they want to control people. I was just writing today the forward to the second book, and I was writing the forward is describing this idea that you're mentioning now. Because if a person present in the moment, in the season, he noticed a falling leaf, he noticed that the days are getting shorter or getting longer, it doesn't matter what season, but he is present. He has awe to creation, he has relation to the bird, to the sky, to the changing of the hours, to the changing of the sounds, he listens to the poetry that the skies, that the heavens are writing or singing, and he writes it down, doesn't matter who. Or he plays it on a guitar, or he paints a painting, or he writes a letter, it doesn't matter. If a person is present, everything as it in its place. The thing is that we are not present. Each one is in his own chariot of fire, worries about the past, or worries about the future, or worries about worries that are not existing. This is the problem, and then humanity went into this weird channel that other people has to define other people what to do, because they are being lost in their ignorance of not turning to what is present. What is ignorance? They don't want to acknowledge presence. What is ignorance? This is the problem. And then we have, hey, you sinners, and you will be. Why is this kind of speech of beating? And one of the poems in the second book is that it comes that there's no beating and there's no punishment. When a person present, when a person present in the moment, we are being. There is no problem. Nobody beats everyone, there's no sinners, there's no mistakes. So we did A and it doesn't work, so we do B, and it might work or not, and we try C. And reason. Look what happens now in Europe. Very good, Fernando, for the questions. There is a rising of nationalism in Europe. Yes, the Russians, they lift the flag of the Tsar. Tsar Nikolai, before there was the Russian Revolution, they believe they are living under hidden king called Tsar. They have a new flag, yellow flag, the flag of the Tsar, the ancient Tsar. In Germany, there's an uprising of people who live, and they have a flag of Bismarck time. Bismarck time, the monarchy of Germany, before it became Republic of Weimar and so on. In Italy, there is a nationalist government. They don't want to accept stranger. Last night, there is an island between Africa and Europe called Lampedusa. People who escape Africa, they first come to Lampedusa and from there to Europe to find new life, not to be killed in the wars in Africa and in the hunger. So last night, 7,000 men, women and children arrived to Lampedusa in intention to somehow to cross to a safe land in Europe for a new life. Do you think that a politics of nationalism can help this situation? There are 7,000 people who seek life and they are stranded on an island. How any kind of agenda or populism of politics will people want to live, they wish to live. And everybody now, also in Israel, you have those streams, people wants to go to the ancient nation. What is this? Because it happens all over the place. Also in America I heard something in its coloration and variation. People wants to go to an ancient king, to an ancient monarch, to an ancient Tsar, to an ancient emperor. Why is that so? We are mythological creatures. We are here to speak, to give meaning. And if we don't do this, our minds are being drafted to all kinds of conspiracy theories and regimes of streams of nationalism. Why? Because we're not present at the moment. This is it.
Well, you commented, Eddie, that the other day that, you know, I don't know if you went to a friend's house or what it was, but you saw that in every room there was a TV and everybody had a phone and everybody was like doing their own thing and they weren't present.
Yes.
In other words, they weren't connecting with each other because there's constantly noise. There's constantly something else to distract the minds, and you said that's hell.
Yes, this is definition of hell.
and so then what you're saying now is that the symptoms of people, so many people being like that, is showing up in nations, in the nationalistic governments, and you know, in the uprisings and all these other things that are happening. Kind of a symptom of people not connecting with the moment, you know, or with the truth, or with reality in terms of the spirit, you know, like being present with people, communicating with each other, having inner peace, you know,
Yes.
and love and joy, because there's such beauty in the universe. There's such beauty in the design of the earth and of creation of people, of animals, of plants. And then the ability to reach from within and pull out poetry and music and paintings and things like this, if we would just focus on that kind of beauty, this other stuff would be so ugly that we would turn from it. We'd turn away from that, you know. But otherwise, it's kind of like you're on this mindless train of events. Like there's no one at the controls of the train. It's just going on towards a cliff because nobody's paying attention.
Yes.
Not paying attention to
Yes.
what's really going on, you know, which is love. What's really going on is God's love. And, you know, I had experience last week. It was a synchronistic happening. This lady I know had gone to a lemonade stand, and I had gone to a lemonade stand the same week, and I talked about it on Sunday morning with these two girls. I was driving by, and I think these two girls remembered me stopping before, but I had forgotten about it. And I was in the mail truck, and I drove by, and the one girl just jumped out into the street like Superman or something, and I could read her lips, and she was saying, "Please stop." And I went on to the post office to do my thing, but I said to myself, I have to stop when I come back by because it's on the way. And so I stopped on the way back by, and they were so excited. They're about probably two 10-year-old girls, and so I got out, and the girl that jumped out into the street, she said, "The lemonade's free today." I said, "What?" I said, "I know you usually get like $1 for this." She's like, I said, "Why is it free today?" And she said, "Well, because the gas prices are up, and there's nothing free in this town, and why not?" She said. And I just laughed. I said, "Well, I'm giving you $1 anyway." And then they said, "Well, you want a bracelet? Those are $1." So I got one of their bracelets, and when I hopped in the truck, they gave me the sign for honking your horn, both of them, the big smiles on their face. So I honked the horn, and then they both waved vigorously at me like goodbye, and I waved at them, and it just completely felt like heaven when I left. It stayed with me. So I told the story. Turns out that another lady had stopped at a lemonade stand in her town that same week, and she told me that story. And so then several weeks later, I was writing another message, and I was sitting thinking, should I put her story into this message right now? At that moment, she sent me a text message, and I don't get text messages from her hardly ever that I could think of if I ever have. And so I texted her back. I said, I think it was a sign that I should put your story in the message for Sunday because you just sent me a text. But anyway, there were some things that also occurred. It was a kind of a group text, and I didn't realize it. And someone in the group text started bad mouthing her a lot, and I don't think they realized I was in the text, group text, and I didn't say anything, but my thoughts were how there's so much beautiful things that occur in this world in communication, and on the other hand, there's some ugly things that happen. And my wish and my prayers at that time, in that moment, was that this other person could wake up and see how beautiful things really are, like God's interactions, God's love, the timing of things. And when you stop and you marvel at someone's poetry, or you marvel at a painting, the contrast can be just stunning. Um, like somehow, like with the ugliness of nationalism, or the ugliness of what people do say sometimes, if they could just stop and see the beauty. I guess that's the only way I can boil it down, is to stop and think of the creativity and the beauty in other human beings.
True.
So thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you for sharing it. Rodrigo, good morning. Good evening, Yanis. Do you have questions? Eniola, Fernando, thoughts that you'd like to share?
Good morning, Eti. Shalom, everyone. Just listen, Eti. Thank you to be here, and I just want to thank you to our friends to have this meeting. It's amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Just another word about Rosh Hashanah, which is happening tomorrow evening, when a new moon is being born. This is the 7th moon from spring, North Hemisphere perspective. When a new moon is being born, there is completely darkness on the western sky. There's no moon. It's a birth of the moon, but there's no moon. There's no revelation. It's all dark. Why to celebrate darkness? It's very simple. It's the unknown. It's the unknown which is sacred. Because, and now I'm turning 6 months again to the months of Nisan, to the months of spring. When they were in Egypt, God told to Moses to sanctify the beginning of the months, and Moses says, "But the beginning of the months is dark. How to sanctify or to proclaim holy on something which is not there, on nothing?" And God told him and says, "Kazeh re'eh vekadesh," like this, see and sanctify. The unknown is sanctum, is holy, the unknown. And this is very interesting, because tomorrow in this time, the evening time, it's going to be complete darkness, and people are going to celebrate the new year. The new year, which is basically the beginning of a new unknown unit. So we stop the running. We are moving from the, let's say, the carriage of fire of the summer, from the nervousness, from this. Some people were wounded from the sun. I remember one day, 11 o'clock, it was one of Fridays, 11 o'clock, I was bleeding from the sun. At 11 o'clock, before, yeah, my skin just opened on the hand, open and started bleeding. It was, and then bondage at home, not to leave the house. This is it. Yes. So this is for all of us, a time to heal and to contemplate, and not just the external, outside, not just what we see. What we see is, let's say, 80% approximately, 20% is always hidden. This is the source. From there, the infinite brings new thing to us, and this is the temple. This is to sanctify. This is holy. So it might be okay. It's unknown, but let's celebrate the unknown, because who knows what will come, and because we don't know what will come, we are in, like, not in tension, but we are waiting or anticipating, or most importantly, we are being present, because new things. So you're just not on alert, but you're attentive, listening, anticipating, not just, oh, I know everything, nothing will happen anyway, and I'll go watch another football, another game on TV. No, it's just being present. There is a beautiful, not, I would say, some kind of tension of being present. And this is what we need in our times. Because what happens in those groups of text, people already have opinions, they have enemies, they have winners, they have losers, and just moving text from one room to the other, and they know, and they feel that they're kings because they know, and their names and their address and what they do. And this is like a sandbox game. But let's say game for adult is to be present in the moment, because we don't know, but we live every moment as it comes. Hear the bird, she brings some kind of a note. Okay, continue, write the words that comes from her. Being present. Being present is a gift. It's just present, not just as a, let's say, different from past and future, but as a gift. This is, yes, a gift. To be present is a gift. Not everybody is gifted by the ability to live in the present or be present. Because we have to forget or to put aside who we think that we are, because we have very rigid opinion of who we are, my name, where do I live, and so on. This is my CV. This is a box of lies, by the way. My CV, because what is written on paper is just not 1% of 1 promille, one of what is happening really in the sphere of our lives. And we were educated to believe that where I was born or the address of my school is who define who we are. But it's not. And now we have this opportunity just to be present in the moment. What comes? A wind, a storm, a hot day, a bird is singing, comes a truck, a new ship comes to the harbor, a new honking. There's a prayer. One morning I noticed there is a prayer, and I wrote a poem, and it did not come from the synagogue, and it doesn't come from school. So where does this singing come, the praying come from? No, this is the universe is praying and singing, and this is a moment that you hear. It doesn't come from here. It doesn't come of that house, not from the house of opera. This is the sound of the air, and you hear this poetry, and you hear this singing, and this universe is praying. But who is conducting all of this? And who is capable of hearing this?
You know, there's a young man that works at the mail plant. He's from Africa, and I've been finally kind of getting to know him in the 5 or 10 minutes that I'm there unloading every day. And his name is Dalal. It kind of sounds like dollar, but anyway, I just been kind of like um, just smiling and laughing and talking with him because otherwise it's just pulling a mail cart here and shoving a thing there and whatever. But he really opened up yesterday. He started telling me about music how a lot of music finds its source from Africa, but and he was talking about um, memories as a child where they would cross from the school over to this other building and there would be music going on and they would dance and so we ended up talking about joy and dancing and just celebrating just life and yeah, it was a really fun connection that we were having, just talk. He really wanted to talk about dancing, and I said, "You should get your music out sometime, and we'll just dance a jig or something like that, you know." Um, but just kind of trying to share memories and moments of joy in that particular moment. So yeah, it's. I think if we take the time to ask a person their name, sometimes, you know, I had seen him on and off every once in a while, you know, and I finally asked his name one day, and ever since then, it's like we smile and we talk and say stuff. I think it makes just a tedious job disappear almost. It's like you forget that there's, you know, you're doing your job, but you're not all bogged down about just a mundane task. Like, and I also realized one day that I hadn't asked the I think she's Vietnamese, um, but I hadn't asked her name, and I'd been stopping and getting like, you know, Chinese food about once a week, and for a long time. And finally, one day I asked her name, and she said I made up the name. So there's more of a story there. But she told me the name. It was so different and unusual, and she said I gave myself this. So sometime I've got to ask her about that. But again, it could be just a mundane task of serving food, or it could be something connected.
Yes, because thank you, Jeff, because when people speak, the heart is turning to the other. And then when a heart meets another heart, I mean, all the rest of the things just, let's say, just a cast. Because if we go to the world just to work, just in brackets, and there's no heart, honest heart, that turns to us or we engage with a conversation with another caring heart, it feels that everything is against. But once there is a bond between two hearts, this is in a way the aim of creation. And there's a great
Yeah,
joy coming from this moment. A great joy because we don't feel like walls, that we are bouncing against walls. Because the heart is not wall.
right.
Heart is not a wall. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So with this beautiful blessing, I would like to wish each and every one of you and to our listeners Shana Tova, happy good year, new year to come, with a lot of presents, unknown presents, the beautiful moments, and we can meet here on Monday at the same time. Thank you so much, and shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom Tova to all. Shalom, shalom. Thank you. Thank you,
Shalom.
friends.
Very much. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. תודה רבה.
Shalom. Bye bye.
Shalom.
Bye, Felipe.
Thank you, Yanis. Shalom, Jeff.